To use push notifications on iOS and Android, there's some configuration that needs to be done in the project's application itself. To do so, go to the Apps folder and expand the application itself and open the application descriptor file. In here, you'll see the two environments that we're supporting for push notifications. For Android, what's needed is that you have to go to your Google Cloud Messaging console and provide the cloud key and the sender API key, which are provided by Google itself, so that the Google Cloud Messaging push service can understand how to communicate with your app on an Android device. For iPhone, you basically need to provide the push notification certificate in your project folder, which has been given to you for either a sandbox or production environment. And this can exist either in the root folder of the application or in the iPhone environment folder itself. Let's now take a look at how to create an event source that a device can subscribe to. This is done in a mobile first platform adapter, and I have one here under the adapters folder called Push Adapter. Going into its implementation, you'll see the first thing that's done is that we create the event source. First, we give it a name. We provide two callback functions, one for when a device subscribes to a push event source, and one for when a device unsubscribes from the push event source. The last configuration here is a security test if you want to enhance security by making the user provide a name and password to receive push notifications from your mobile first platform server. Now that the push event source has been defined, in the application logic itself, we'll need to subscribe to the push event source so that we can receive push notifications on our devices once the application has been deployed. To do this, we're going to go into the common code, look in the JavaScript main.js file, and we'll see the code for subscribing to the push notification itself. The first thing you'll notice in the main.javascript file is that we test to see if the push notification is actually supported on the device we're using. So there's a client call for worklight client.push, which will give us whether or not push notifications are supported on the device. The next thing you'll also see is that if the device supports push, we're going to define the subscribe and register callback functions to be called when a push notification is received from the server-side resource. The doSubscribe and the doUnsubscribe functions, which we saw in the adapter, are what get called when the device successfully subscribes and unsubscribes. All they do in this particular case is show an alert saying that there was a success or a failure. The last thing is the push notification received function. And what this shows is the actual data that comes back from the push itself. And this is defined in the push register event source callback. So when the push notification subscribes to the event source, you define a callback, and in that callback function you define which adapter event source you want to subscribe to, and the notification callback function, which is defined at the bottom here. And all this one does is it surfaces some alerts with the data that came back from the push notification itself. Let's take a look at that. To do a quick test of push notifications, you'll need to run the application on your device. Because I'm using the emulator, I'm going to use an Android emulator which has Google Cloud Messaging services enabled on it. To do a quick test to make sure that the actual device can receive a push notification, you can quickly test the adapter from the studio itself by going to right-click it, say Run As, and invoke Mobile First Procedure. From there, you can just call the function that we defined server-side, submit notification, which submits a notification down to the user's device. So in this case, I'm going to subscribe as mobile first user and send a push notification with text message. This is a push message. And I'm going to click run, and what you'll notice is this is actually going to fail because I didn't actually open the app and log in with that particular user, mobile first user. So if I'm going to go and do the same thing again, but this time run the application on the device, the first thing you'll notice when I run the app is it asks me to log in. So I'm going to log in as mobile first user. And the first thing it does when I log into the actual application is it gives me a couple of alerts that tell me that I'm ready to subscribe. I can click the button to see if push is supported. and you'll see right now that push notifications are supported. I can see if I'm subscribed, and right now I'm not subscribed to the push notification. So I'm going to click this button to subscribe, and it's going to actually subscribe to that notification that I want to receive from the server. So if I were to go back to my studio and run that adapter to submit notification again to that particular user, mobile first user, who we just logged in with, it's going to receive a push notification on the device, in this case the emulator, with the message, "This is a push message." So let's go ahead and run that. Is successful is true, so it actually sent the notification to the user, mobile first user, who was logged in on the application. And if I go to my Android device, you'll see I did receive a push notification. It's been invoked, and if you remember, there was 3 alerts, so I just dumped some data about the push notification into the alert to see what information is coming down. So that's if the app is in the foreground, but what if the app is in the background? If I were to put this app in the background, the app is no longer in the foreground, and rerun this procedure, I'll actually see a push notification message on the device notification bar of Android, and a similar thing will happen for iOS or Windows Phone, depending on the operating system support. So if I actually were to click this message in the notification area, it'll take me right to the application where the push notification message has been received. So during the demonstration of the application, you might have noticed that I called a function server-side called submit notification, and that's defined in the push adapter itself. And it requires a user ID and notification text, which is why I had to provide my user ID, which I provided mobile first user, and the push message I wanted to send down to the device. In this method, I used some mobile first platform server-side APIs to get the user's subscription status to the push event source in this push adapter and associate the user ID to that event source so that I have the subscription information for that user. And then once I have that information, I decide what I want to do with it. In this case, I increase the badge digit next to the app, and I send the text, the notifications text, down to the device in a default notification with some custom data that I can also provide as well. And then from there, I call the mobile first platform server-side APIs to notify all the devices that have the user subscription that I've found with the notification that I've created.